Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Elias and welcome back to Stoneblock 3. In the last episode, we were finishing up our mob farm, which is working a little bit too well. We upgraded our grinder in here to get a lot of drops, and it is slowly getting through all of the drops. So there's a couple things that we need to do. And there's a handful of things that we need to kind of improve. But today's episode, we're going to do a couple of miscellaneous things, and then we are going to work on Mekanism, actually. That is kind of the big plan. And actually, we might use this thing to get some more power. So we have a metallurgic infuser here. I need to get another metallurgic infuser, which I think we have one. Do we have one sitting over here? Yes. And it has all the refined obsidian dust. So I'm going to need to get some metallurgic infusers kind of set up. And I need to automate them like we did for everything else. I'm also going to probably get some more crafters. Not probably, I am going to get some more crafters to put behind here. So that we can have these guys have everything we need. So enriched carbon, redstone, this one will have diamond, and this one will have the refined obsidian. And let's just make sure that this gets input on the power. So yeah, we need to be able to automate all that stuff. I also want to, there is a handful of things. So I was looking ahead. I was looking ahead at the end game, and we're going to need to make infinity catalysts eventually. And infinity catalysts require a bunch of things. Indus pearls are easy enough. Record fragments are very easy. Most of the stuff isn't too bad. Cosmic meatballs is a little bit of a pain, but ultimate stew is going to be a lot of a pain, which is why we're going to be making botany pots for everything, which, by the way, I've started, but then I tore it out because we need to upgrade things. So this wall is going to be 2 stacks. Unfortunately, you can only remove items from the bottom of the hopper botany pots. That is perfectly okay, but just kind of a thing. But anyways, if we just click something, we should be able to get back to... I was looking at a lot of things. So there is a bunch of singularities that we need, and they're weird. Some of them are like a palette and brush singularity, so we have to make these. This is not actually that difficult, but we need 3,000 of them. So when it comes to the singularities, some of them are going to be really easy, but we cannot EMC any of them. So before we in Stoneblock 2 we used the fluid cows to get a ton of infinity ingots. We can't do that here. We're actually going to have to make processing systems and all that kind of stuff. But most of them don't seem too bad. I mean, some of them, magenta matter, that's going to be terrible, but not really. Source gems, I don't know how to make those. I don't know anything about those. I've never played around with Ars Novia. So that's going to be, I think that's how you say it. That's going to be one that's kind of weird. But we're going to need plutonium, and just three per. But we're gonna get into Mekanism today, and I've been looking ahead just to kind of see what we're going to need. And so we're going to get a lot of botany pots. I've in fact made a stack, or I've told the system to make a stack. Where is this? So it is just machine doesn't accept items. Oh right, because it's just smelting. Do we have a factory on this? Okay, it's working. So it's just going to take some time. So what I want to do today is I want to work on getting upgrades for things. And we're also going to... Do we have any more patterns? We do. There's a handful of things that I want to make. And then I also want to see, do we have any grass? We have a little bit of grass. So we are going to teach the system how to make energy cells, because each energy cell requires the next tier. Something that we're going to have to figure out how to automate later is the energizing orb. I actually don't know the best way to do that because we are going to need... by the way, this is one of the ones that's going to be terrible. Ethereal slates from Blood Magic. We only need 3 per, but this is just terrible. So yeah, there's some things that are just going to be weird. We're going to have to get emerald clusters and whatnot. But I'm going to teach the system how to make a handful of things. And some of the stuff that we're going to teach is the logistical transporters. Let's teach the elites. And then we'll also teach the system how to make the elites. And then we're also going to want to teach the system how to make the energy cells. The basics. I believe we have capacitors taught, dielectric casings, yeah. So that is fine. So there is some things that we can just go ahead and do. And I want to get a lot of this stuff done. So what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to upgrade this entire logistical transporters track, and then I also want to teach the system to make sure it knows we have the basic tier installer. Let's go ahead and teach the rest of them. I might organize this at some point. So tier installer for the advanced requires advanced control circuits, which we can teach the system how to make. It should already know how to make it does not know how to make control. Yes, it knows how to make control circuits. Right. It's an infuser recipe. So we're going to want to teach the advanced circuits. We're going to want to teach the advanced installer. We're going to want to teach the elite circuits and the elite tier installer. And yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So, I'm thinking, we could teach the system how to make these. I don't think that's as important, but we're going to have a lot of crafting kind of automated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away for a moment. I'm going to get 2 more exporters with auto crafters. The crafting upgrades, we'll get some more crafters to put here. And we'll get these guys all set up to be automated. And then we will... we'll come back, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to use this guy to put just normal machines over here. That is fine. And then we have a space for some normal, just basic machines. There is a couple more things I want to do before we actually cut away. So let's get back up here. Alright. We put a block there. Perfect. Okay. So we'll put some stuff there. So I want to put down some grass blocks, and we are going to attempt to get all of the Botania flowers as well. Now this is actually really easy. Do we have beets? No. What kind of dye can we use? We can use any type of dye. I just got to figure out what type that we have. So I guess, I mean, we have 12,000 lapis. Let's make a stack of blue dye. And we're just going to do something like this with some bone meal. And we're going to get some floral fertilizer, which apparently was a quest. I hadn't looked at the Botania stuff. So we're going to get the Lexica Botania. That will be important later. Put that in there for now. We got an advanced item collector. That's kind of cool. So what the floral fertilizer does is pretty easy. If we have some grass, it acts like bone meal. It is basically bone meal, but instead of giving you random flowers, it gives you Botania flowers. So we'll do this until I can get all of the different colors of flowers, and that way once we have one of each, we can start growing them. So there's 16 in total. We have 2 already. The white ones are like the most important ones ever. So I'm going to get all of this set up, and I think the other thing I want to do is I want to make some logistical transporters. Let's make a stack of them, and then we will I will go ahead and upgrade the pipes down here, and that should be good enough for now. We'll just upgrade all this stuff, and I'll have to tear some stuff up, but that won't be too big of a deal. And once we have that done, then we'll come back and we'll start working on getting some Mekanism machines, because we need to get some good armor, but this is going to require polonium, and this stuff is not easy to get. It requires a nuclear reactor, a fission reactor, so we got to make some progress before we can get to that point. So I will be back once we're ready to start working with some more Mekanism machines. Alright, so a couple things to note. First of all, you don't have to replace all of the pipes. We can just replace some of them and it will speed up, and it is fine, because this honestly doesn't need any speed ups. It gets a little burst of stuff, but for the most part, like, this diamond barrel is fine. I actually think that Flint... No, Flint's not... maybe Flint's full. I don't actually know. Yeah, Flint's full. Okay, so I just need to get some more, which means Lapis is probably also full. Yeah. Oh, well. Those things are fine. We can get some void upgrades. In fact, I think I have a bit of obsidian right now. I have a little bit. We could get 2 more void upgrades and fix that problem. So there is a couple things that we need to do that I kind of forgot about, and honestly are really important to kind of clean up than Flint. So there is a couple things that we cannot void that we're getting from the mob farm. So occasionally zombies will drop, which, by the way, this is running now and it should be working just fine. I might want to replace these. Do I have... No, I didn't do that, but actually I'm going to take all these cables out because I don't use that backpack for that as often as I should. Yeah, okay, I need to fix these pipes. Also, this needs to go somewhere. So this is the problem with the mob farm. It will get overfilled and hopefully not lag out things, but you never know. So I'm going to turn it off for right now and let the system kind of clean out. But yeah, there is 3 items that we're going to be getting from this mob farm that are terrible. Number 1 is... I don't see any in there. I wonder if there's any in here. Sugar. We're getting sugar from witches. We're getting carrots from zombies. And we'll be getting potatoes from zombies. So we need to create some new filters. So carrots are going to go to be voided. The reason being, same with sugar and potatoes. The reason being is because this farm will interfere with the setup that we're going to have for the botany pots. Those are going to fill up, and when the drawer is full, it stops producing. If we have stuff coming from the mob farm, then, by the way, I got all the flowers. It didn't take too long. We can also duplicate those from botany pots, which is why we're going to need a lot of botany pots. I have a stack crafted up, and I'm going to work on that between episodes. Those will probably get the normal pipes. But if things are coming from this place, we don't want it to fill up. We want to have the drawers fill up so that the botany pots stop. If we put void upgrades on them, then it would not clog up this system, but the botany pots would constantly, which isn't the end of the world, but meh. I figure it would be a better solution. And we need to get some more void upgrades, it looks like. So yeah, there is a lot of kind of getting systems to completely. Sticks is another one, actually. We're going to want to void sticks over here because of the same reason. Again, witches are going to be terrible for us, but it's fine. We will live. So, should be fine. Most of the stuff will eventually get kind of taken care of. Instead of making a quick... I can make another void upgrade. We are slowly getting obsidian, and it's unfortunately very slow. I'm still trying to avoid using chickens for the time being, just because I don't want to. And I want to have, you know, actual mechanical systems. It's more fun. So, speaking of which, we need a couple of things. We need some XNet cables. Which I guess we just need to... I don't remember what they're called. That's not what I needed to type. So XNet, we need the connectors, right? Yeah. So let's get... Do we have any connectors? No. So we just need some lapis. And 2 sets should be more than enough. Oh, no, we need a lot more. Is it actually connectors that we need, or can we just get by with the wires? I can't remember. Nope, we need connectors. And it is just standard connectors. So we're going to start getting some Mekanism machines. I briefly kind of showed off that we have the mecha suits that we're trying to get to. Well, the mecha suits require... among other things, a lot of things, but they require plastic. And so, is there, I guess we'll just use the blue connectors. So we're going to need, let's get just one for now. No, we need more than that. We're going to need to do some more other stuff as well. This episode is going to be a mess. Apologies. Let's get, you know what? Let's just teach the system how to make these things. We also need to teach the system how to make something else. So let's get the blue dye. Cornflowers. Do we have any cornflowers in here? Okay, I want to make sure that it... Actually, we'll just have it use lapis. So let's see, it doesn't really matter. We have plenty of lapis, so it's not that big of a deal. Later on, we might do some stuff with the lapis, but as you can see, I've organized all this stuff. Okay, so let's get some connectors. Let's get like 10. That's fine. And then we also need to craft up a couple more things. We're going to need enriched diamonds. So let's see. This, we're going to need to teach the system how to make that. And that is going to be in the metallurgic infuser. This one. No, that is an enriching factory. And then we're also going to want to know how to make enriched obsidian, because this will be useful later. We're also going to need to know how to make refined obsidian dust, and we're going to need to know how to make obsidian dust, and the best way is enrichment chambers. So we'll do that. So this one goes in there. And these two go in here. So connector, we have a few. Let's go ahead and get one of each of these. Actually, we're not going to worry about using the enriched obsidian quite yet, but the enriched diamond we're going to want. We're also going to want some tier installers. Now, I do believe, let's get an elite, a single elite. We can craft it in a moment. We could get a advanced. Let's get an advanced. And the thought behind this is we're going to take the enriched diamond and we're going to get the auto crafting set up. So I've got these guys set up, but we need to, I forgot to do this part. Clear all sides. So top is going to be input for yellow. Extra. And then bottom is going to be output, and then the back is input. And then I do need to make sure that both of these will export on the back, and that should be fine. Okay, so this guy we're going to put export diamond, and that should put diamonds in there, and we can have that start going. It's got 80 right now. As soon as this is done, it should immediately go into here and fill up 160. Perfect. And then we can also go ahead and put some blue cables this way. And this is just for power. Don't plan on doing any sort of extractions or anything like that. Just power. So, we need to get some stuff done. Steel casings. We should probably teach the system how to make this. So steel casings are going to be really important. We're going to make a lot of those over the course of this mod pack. Let's just do that. And it's relatively easy. It's just a little bit of a pain. So let's get, you know what, let's just start by making 10. That is a lot of steel, but we're going to need it. The other thing is energy tablets. Energy tablets are also really, really useful. We're going to need to make a lot of those. And it's just gold, redstone, and infused alloy. Nothing too major, but again, should probably know how to make those. So we're going to need one of those for right now. And we're going to be making a resistive heater. That is the first quest that it wants us to do in the mechanism stuff. And basically, heat's really important for later. We're going to need to make something called a thermal evaporation controller, a plant, I guess. And typically with these, you would power them with solar panels to heat them up. They need heat in order to process stuff, and the whole point is to make lithium and brine. That's all they do, but they need to have a fairly high temperature, and I don't know which one it is we're going to need. Probably there's a lot of mechanism stuff that I'm not sure. I've never used the fission reactors, and I'm a little scared of them, I'll be honest. But that all is working. Let's see if we have the factory, the tier installer. We do have an advanced tier installer. I want to see, does this only work for the previous tier? If we place this on, let's say, this, it only works in the previous tier. Okay, so we're going to boost the smelting factory. It gets 5 slots now, and we're gonna get let's go ahead and get like 4 of the basic tiers. So we are gonna need a lot of these, and we'll get that stuff going. Now, other things that we're gonna want to teach the system how to make is some upgrades. We're gonna want speed upgrades, which does require osmium dust. Now, to get osmium dust, we're going to probably need a crusher, and I don't think, do I have a crusher already set up for auto crafting? I do. Perfect. So we have a crusher. We can get crushed osmium. So speed upgrade. We're going to teach that. We're going to teach the energy upgrade as well. Make it more efficient. And I don't really care about the muffling or anything like that, but we are going to need osmium dust in a crusher. And we're going to need gold dust also in a crusher. I don't know what I used the crusher for before, but we're going to need them. So let's see. Basic crushing. Oh, just in case we wanted extra sand and gravel, that kind of stuff. That's fine. So we're going to put these in here. And how are we doing on the resistive heater? We just need a steel casing. And what's it doing? It is... Machine doesn't accept items. Why is the machine not accepting items? Oh, because I did... No? Is it trying to enrich? Might be trying... No, enriching factory should be fine. That is weird. I upgraded it and now it doesn't want to work. Oh no, it's trying to enrich it again. It's going to take some time. So if we can get those basic tier installers, which we have, we can get the things upgraded and it will work a little bit faster. So that's basically what we're going to do for all of this. And those are going to work just fine, and it's going to start doing everything. We want it to auto sort, split, and that is perfectly fine. And then start making steel. So the other things that we're going to need, I talked about getting plastic. So we're going to need HDPE sheets, which are plastic. We can get them with an enrichment chamber, HDPE pellets. We need a pressurized reaction chamber with liquid ethylene and oxygen. And yeah, it's this whole process. At some point, we're going to probably have a room to process, probably this direction. And that is kind of where we're going to go from there. So we have our steel casing. Let's go ahead and make the resistive heater. We're going to need those for later. And we got some iron ore. Now, what's the next thing? It wants us to make electrolytic separator. Yeah, that is going to make us oxygen. So, electrolytic separator requires an electrolytic core, which requires osmium dust, iron dust, and gold dust. So, let's get gold dust. I think it was 4. And you know what? Iron dust can be taught as well. Why not? I don't know if we're going to need that all that often, but we don't really have much doing with the factory, so we'll just make some iron dust. And then we're going to need alloys. 5 alloys. It was less than I thought. So we make the core so that we can make this, and we're going to need, just make 10 more. So this thing is not too terrible, but it does require some waiting. We can also go ahead and teach the system, or tell the system to make some speed upgrades and energy upgrades, because at some point we're going to need to be mindful of how much energy we're using. It looks like this is fine for now, but it will process, the factories will use more energy. Obviously they're doing more like production at a time, so it does take a bit. So what do we want to do? Let's get a speed upgrade into the redstone. I think that is probably one of the more important ones. And you can put up to 8 in all of them. So all these machines can be fully upgraded. We'll do that eventually, and it will be great. So do we have some alloys? We have them all. Perfect. So there is the electrolytic core, and there is the electrolytic separator. So we're going to just make the machines today. We'll set them up next time, and we'll need to do a handful of things. Now, I do wonder, let's get rid of all this. Refined storage. We have fluid storage. I don't know. Let's just look up. We're going to need gas. We're going to have a lot of gases, but it doesn't look like there's any sort of like digital gas storage. We can store liquids in digital storage, but there is a lot of things that we're going to need to kind of like make. So to kind of go over the very basic process, you need substrate. Substrate comes from biofuel. With hydrogen and water works fine. Hydrogen comes from an electrolytic separator, thing we just made. Put water through, get hydrogen and oxygen. That is fine. And we're going to probably want to... I don't know. There's a lot of things that we could do. There's a lot of ways we could do things. These rotary condensators, very difficult word, will turn liquids into gases and gases into liquids. And that's all it is. You know, oxygen gas to liquid oxygen, or water vapor into water. And you can go the opposite way. So it is kind of useful for if you need to store things. I think we could like switch things around, but we're going to want one of these. This is actually pretty easy. And I think we should also teach the system how to make basic gas stuff. So we're going to want at Mekanism. There are a couple of things that we're going to want to make sure that we can make. One of them is eventually probably the thermodynamic conductors, but pressurized tubes are going to be important. As well as, where are they? Did I just completely overlook them? It is difficult to scan this stuff quickly. So there's the fluid tanks. There should be 4 gas tanks. Here they are. Basic chemical tanks. And they are pretty easy to make. But we are going to need them to do a lot of things. So we'll make some basic tanks. And then we are going to need to make the rotary condensator, and we need a basic fluid tank. Don't really plan on using those too much. Basic chemical tank, those are useful. We're gonna need 2 control circuits and an energy tablet. There is a reason that I made a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to get the upgrades eventually kind of taken care of. They do stack in 8s, which is nice. And we'll get things upgraded and all that kind of stuff. I'll do a lot of that off camera. I'm also going to probably get a lot of crafting recipes made up off camera, because why not? There's a lot of stuff that we need to... It'd be nicer to auto-craft. So there is the rotary condensator. Let's go ahead and complete these 2 quests. Oh, hey, we got a reward for the armory thing that we just got. Cool, I don't have to make that. Honey cake and an iron paxel. We got some honey cakes, cool. You might notice I have egg sandwiches. That is my current food. These honey cakes will be my food in the base. So let's see, what else machine-wise does it want us to make right now? A chemical oxidizer. Alright. So this is a little bit more in depth. Let's get a stack of steel kind of in reserves. And there is a few other machines that we're going to want to make. A chemical infuser. And then we'll go ahead and make chemical dissolution chamber and the pressurized reaction chamber. Let's do all of those. So chemical oxidizer, infuser. What was the other one? Oxidizer, infuser, dissolution chamber. That one. And then also a PRC, pressurized reaction chamber. It is usually just called a PRC. In fact, in its like in the like GUI of it, it is a PRC. So let's see. This one is going to require some steel. How many more alloys do we have? We have none. Let's go ahead and make like 20 of those. Same with the control circuits. Let's make 10. Okay. So we are going to need another enrichment chamber. We are going to... Okay, so we can't make the chemical dissolution chamber quite yet. We're going to need refined obsidian. We'll get to that stuff later. This episode's starting to get a little bit long. We're going to need 2 sets of these. We should be able to make the chemical infuser once we have the basic control circuits. All right, let's go upgrade. That is all the redstone one. Let's just fully upgrade this thing. And it only needs that, and then all of the energy that it can take. Perfect. So now it should be really fast and not too bad on energy. So now we should be able to make not the chemical oxidizer. We're going to make the chemical infuser first because that one's a little easier. We do need the chemical oxidizer, so we need a personal chest, which needs steel. Let's go ahead and put the other 2 upgrades into our this one, and that will help a little bit. We should also be able to... Sometimes the auto sort is not the best of methods, but most times it is. So with this, we should be able to, once we get some steel, we're going to need... Alright, so for this, we're going to need another basic tank. We're going to need a personal chest or a personal barrel. We'll do the chest because it's a little bit easier. So we're going to want 2 chests and just a bunch of steel. And eventually we'll get all that steel. So there's the personal chest. And then the chemical oxidizer does require a dynamic tank. So we're going to need a bucket. And 2 more steel. Should be very soon. It's unfortunate having to wait for stuff, but it is what it is. You know, it happens. So that should be everything for the chemical oxidizer. We get both of those. And then we can make the PRC, but it's not going to matter for now. So we'll just kind of... Actually, yeah, we'll hold off on that for now. So we have a bunch of quests. Ooh, we got another mob imprisonment tool. That is nice. And other stuff that we don't really need. Okay, so we have a bunch of machines. Don't need the armory cabinet. We have a bunch of machines, and we're going to need to start setting them up. There is also a couple other machines that we're going to need. I've got to remember what it is. It's the osmium compressor. This thing is important because this is how you make ingots, refined obsidian and refined glowstone. So we'll get that taken care of. And then we should be able to start making a couple of things. So the 2 things that we're going to need is the HDPE sheets, so these things, and we'll probably have a self-contained system for those, so that we can just have it somewhere in a room. We're gonna have a lot of like little rooms off of this, so we might have just a hallway that goes this way, and then a bunch of rooms that direction. I will probably work on that between episodes, at least a little bit. But we're gonna have a lot of systems like this where we're going to take some raw ingredients and we're going to need to turn them into something. So the pellets we need, oxygen is easy enough, but liquid ethylene comes from ethylene, which is a hydrogen and water with a biofuel. This is honestly not that bad of a thing. Ethylene is actually pretty easy to make. It just requires biofuel, which requires a crusher and some sort of whatever. We'll probably use something like, we might actually use pumpkins. So if we use a crop, I'll have to see. So that makes biofuel. That makes biofuel. The wood does not. So I'll probably use like pumpkins or something. I'll kind of look into it, and we'll just have a we'll just have a botany pod in there in that room making biofuel. And so we just have to set up some sort of system for that. And then for the other stuff, the thing that we need to do is we need to make this fissile fuel, I think is how you pronounce it, fissile fuel. And you need uranium hexafluoride, which is uranium oxide and hydrofluoric acid, and that is yellow cake uranium, which is just enriched uranium. Okay, so that's not too bad. We'll set up systems for that kind of stuff as well. That one will probably want to have some sort of cable go across, and I think that's what we'll just do. We'll just have a cable go across. I should probably hide it, but I don't know if I will, because eventually we're gonna have a bunch of rooms, and let's just get this on here so we can kind of remember everything that we're going to need. So we're gonna have a lot of rooms for things like we're gonna need, what's a good example? We're going to need none of these are good examples. Balloons, no, that's gonna be just a crafted recipe thing. What was it? Walls, no, that's that. Train tracks. Train tracks is a good example. So we're gonna need train tracks, 80 train tracks per singularity eventually. And so we're gonna have just a sequence. It's a recipe sequence. It is just deploy 2 iron nuggets and press it with a press on a stone slab. So we'll just have something like this making train tracks, and we'll have a lot of that stuff kind of in rooms back here to make all of our stuff for the Infinity Catalyst. So that is the idea. I'm going to do a little bit of work. Like I said, I'm going to start digging out. I want to make, let's see, this has backed up again. All right, boots. Boots need to be filtered. So I will handle that. Before we go, there's one last thing I want to do. But I'm gonna start making some rooms and all that kind of stuff, and we'll work towards that next time. I think what we're gonna do is we're going to get the HDPE pellets, and then when it comes to the fission reactors, it is mostly lead and just high tier control circuits. Yeah, it's just lead and a little bit of steel. Actually not too bad. So I don't know much about that. I don't want to do it in this area. We're going to probably make a machine thing. What are they called? A compact machine. Probably gonna make one of these, and probably gonna make the largest one, which is a 13 by 13 by 13 inside. I don't know if that's gonna be big enough, but we need to do something with that, or else go really, really far away. So the last thing I want to do is let's take a look at our loot crates. We have 7 epics. Let's see what's in 7 epic loot crates. Diamond boots, amethyst, pig iron, brain coral, coarse fruit, blocks of mana steel. Okay, not terrible. I don't know what I expected, I'll be honest, but not bad. The pig iron is something we are going to need, because that is a compressor, like that is a singularity. So let's look at the rare ones. We have 18 of these. Maybe we'll get something better. Let's filter potion melter. Yeah, not really. Gold upgrade is kind of nice, but not anything super great. I did not mean to use that. Okay, so I am going to call the episode here, and next time we are going to, like I said, continue working with Mekanism, start producing some of the higher tier Mekanism stuff, and eventually we'll get enough obsidian that I feel comfortable doing a lot of the atomic tier of circuits and whatnot. So that's the plan. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!